I knew I had something to offer. I knew I could help other people. And I'd been through a really sort of torrid time. And all that kept me going was, if I can help just one other person to deal with this or not feel so alone, then this won't have been in vain. So before we ended up on a call, I was in a place just full of so much fear and shame. I'd been through a point where I'd had a really successful business. I was married, I had a baby, I had the lifestyle, but I was desperately, desperately unhappy. And the business failed. My marriage ended, and it had been an abusive marriage. I became bankrupt. And in the 18 months that followed that, I was then made redundant 3 times. And each time I tried to reinvent myself or share the lessons I'd learned going through all of that, I was getting sabotaged on social media. But I was also sabotaged about what other people would think, by what my ex-husband might think, what he might do, and what all those people that I used to network with, and I was a prolific networker, I'd had a successful business, what all those people that knew me, that had worked with me, what on earth would they think? They were all going to think, who does she think she is? So this fear just kept me really, really small. And I had programs written for 10 years. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I was meant to be doing. And so it got to a point where I'd seen your advert, I think, on Facebook for a while. And of course, we knew each other when I had that successful business.
Yes.
We'd lost touch, but I kind of knew through social media what you were doing. And I'd always admired you. And when I'd seen your advert sort of 2 or 3 times, I thought, I'm going to find out what she's doing. If nothing else, it'd just be quite nice to reconnect with Heather. And if this is how I have to reconnect and say, hi, how are you? Then that's what I'll do. And I watched the webinar, or your webinar, and I thought, oh, okay, but something, and I can't specifically say what it was, but something made me think, maybe I need to have a call with Heather. So when the opportunity to book a call came, obviously I did. And we went through the call, and you asked me if I'd like to sign up to the program. And although I was hesitant, there was still a part of me, I thought, you know what? I've spent 10 years knowing what I wanted to do, trying to do it on my own, but not knowing how. And here is somebody I know, like, and trust offering me the how. So for me, it was very much about, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it with somebody I trust. Somebody that isn't, who I know isn't judging me on my past, and recognizes that the past experiences I've had are actually quite valuable. I knew how valuable they were because of the lessons I'd learned from them. When I speak to people, they say, oh my goodness, I've learned so much from that. But I was struggling with getting that from out of here and out of here onto a program, or into a program. And within your webinar, within our conversation, you were able to show me how to do that, and how it was not easy, but relatively simple when you know how. And so that's kind of where I was before joining your program, because I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I had all the content, just didn't know how to put it together. And I needed somebody who was going to call me out when that fear stopped me from moving forward. And you know as well as I do, there've been many stages working through this program where that's it, I can't do it, it's not for me, I can't do it. And it's, no, come on, Deb. And you've taken me back to all of those aspirations I had when we were on that call. And that for me has been the key lesson, I suppose, the key driver, knowing that I could spend the next 10 years in that place of fear and worry. Or I can move on. I mean, for goodness sake, I left my ex-husband 10 years ago, yet I was still letting him control what I was doing. Where's the sense in that? And allowing him in my head to have that control, it was making me ill. My mental health suffered, my physical health suffered. It was impacting my relationship, it was impacting my confidence elsewhere in the workplace. And that's not a healthy place to be. But you keep going out and putting this mask on and say, yeah, everything's fine, I can do this, I'm fine. And we all do it to a degree. So when the opportunity to work with you came along, I knew actually you know, was it divine timing? May well have been, but I was in the right place at that time to say, this stops. It stops now, and move forward. And that's where I am.
Yeah, superb. And do you know that you touched on there about, you know, what's the about the pain of everything else, that pain of living too much in the past and kind of like not being able to express yourself and what other people will think of you, and it's not just about the mechanical aspects of business, about having those structures and things in place. It's about aligning, bringing everything in. And when we align everything, that starts with you as a person. It starts with, what does Deb Morgan actually really, really want? What is your heart and your soul absolutely yearning for? Because, you know, Deb, you and I both know and recognize that, you know, when you have a message on your heart and soul that you want to give and express to the world, you know, the worst part of not being able to give that feels like, well, for me, it felt like a little piece of me was dying every
Oh,
day.
yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I was so thrilled when you kind of reached out and booked a call. You know, I'm thrilled and you know, when anybody reaches out and books a call with me, because it's an opportunity for them to break out of the shackles that have been holding them in that position or sucking them backwards. So absolutely incredible. And you came into the program, Deb, with dedication and focus and come on, let's do this. And you didn't disappoint. And my goodness, it's just been amazing to watch you bloom into this more confident woman now, where you've got your programs all designed, you've got the ability to express your message. And more than that, I just felt a huge shift in terms of a click into alignment, in terms of you as a powerful woman and you expressing the true message. And it wasn't that it was completely kind of out of alignment. It was just almost like kind of a, you know, going to a chiropractor and having your back go out. And it was just like a very, as you said, it's not easy, but it's simple when you know how. That simple kind of like touch, click, and then you were like, whoa, and then it started to flow and you started to express yourself. It's just amazing. So tell us about the program, what you've got out of this so far, because our journey's not over yet, far from it. But I just really wanted this call with you so that you could just explain to people just how powerful it's been for you in terms of where you've got to so far. So in the program, what have been your favorite bits out of working with us in the Alchemy program?
Oh, that's interesting, because, you know, I've got everything I wanted out of the program. You know, I've got the program, my program, I've got my webinar up and running. It's getting out there into the marketplace. But for me, perhaps my favorite bit, because it was just so, oh my God, I was going to say bonkers. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. No, it was just so unexpected, so much fun. And it was about the brand and customer persona. And I'm not going to talk too much about that, because people who haven't been through it, I don't want to spoil it for them. But for me, that really brought things into alignment, because a lot of what I've got content-wise, a lot of what's in my program, a lot of what's going out there is stuff that I've already had. I knew I had, and that's the stuff that I didn't know how to put it out there.
Yeah.
But what I was doing wrong, I was actually scaring people off, because subconsciously I was still putting up this mask. So the mask was the front end of everything I was doing, and it was scaring people off, because it was so out there, because I was thinking, I've got to be confident, I've got to be big, I've got to be bold. So I was really pushing it out there. And whilst there is an element of that is me, I'm actually not that pushy. I'm not somebody that puts themselves front and center. I quite like to, you know, I'll just get on with it quietly in the background, because I know that the people who are listening, the people who are watching me, they're going to be the right people for me. When we worked on the brand persona, when we worked on the customer persona, it just, everything clicked. You know, it was a fog lifting. And it was about, thankfully, it was making minor tweaks actually to what I already had, and just really learning to resonate more with the customer and talk directly to them rather than tell them. So it was more about having a conversation with them than telling them what I could do with them. Almost like you sit down for a night, you go and meet some girlfriends for an evening, and you have a glass of wine, or you have gin and tonic, whatever it might be, and you sit and have a chat and you talk about, oh, how's things, how's the kids, how's the husband, how's the job, oh, I've got this problem going on, well, have you thought about doing X, Y, and Z? And I went from a place of saying, you should be doing A, B, and C, to, well, what if we tried X, Y, and Z? And just that little tweak, the actual message hasn't changed, but the way it's delivered has changed. And that's such a massive impact. And, you know, the method that you used to get me to that point, that was bonkers, but brilliant. It was brilliant. And I loved that part of the process. And every time I'm perhaps writing a new email, writing a blog, writing an article, whatever it might be, recording something, I go right back to the notes I've got from there. Right, okay. And it takes me back there, and I can feel, I can see my customer, I can smell their perfume. You know, I'm that close to them because of that one exercise. That for me, that's made the program. Because the rest of it, I could have worked out on my own. It would probably have taken me another 10 years, but I'd have got there eventually. That one bit for me, that was my key pivotal point. Brilliant.
Thank you. And the persona marketing method, it is slightly bonkers. I mean, it's a mix of like neurosciences and spirituality and heart soul connection and law of attraction, you know, resonance, the whole lot. It's that's why I call it the alchemy program, because it is kind of, for me, it's everything I've learned over 30 odd years coming together to really rocket up your marketing, because it's as you said, Deb, it's the foundation stone of everything else flows and then aligns from that one very powerful exercise that we do in the program. And you know, and it is bonkers, but also, as you said, so much fun. And if you really kind of go with it and you're open to it, it will absolutely revolutionize your business, your marketing, your communication. As you said, the ability to it's interesting, because I always mention that there's like a heart soul a head and heart disconnect with people, and that kind of more masculine energy, not masculine as in male and female, but masculine energy of that forceful push energy is, you know, that's kind of a lot of it old school, but it's also quite patriarchal, and it is actually probably driven by a lot of fear as well, or frustration behind that. And I think when you really truly allow as a woman for you to connect at a heart and soul level with another human being, whether they be male or female, you know, that then opens up the communication channels in terms of that connection, because all of a sudden you're having an honest, open, authentic conversation with another human being.
Exactly.
Rather than trying to sell them or deceive them or whatever, you're actually standing as an advocate for them, and you're putting actually what you want aside for a moment, because you never know whether, you know, that person that you're dealing with, a customer, a client, whether they're the right fit anyway. So why would you ever assume? I think it's quite arrogant to assume that that person is a good fit, but it's coming to them as another human being, as you said, as if you were going out with your girlfriends for a night out or something, and sitting there and honestly connecting to them with love and care and curiosity.
Exactly. What it did for me as well was align sort of both sides of me, because, you know, I'm a psychologist, so I've got a science background, but I'm also an actor and an author, so I'm very creative. And those two worlds kind of do that a fair bit. And, you know, I'm a believer in the law of attraction, I'm quite spiritual. So the science and that, it all really sort of goes like this. And then all of a sudden, the brand persona, customer persona method brought the two together in a way that I've never seen happen before. And that for me was great, because it gave me the right mix of the science stuff, so the evidence-based stuff, but also just a little bit of the woo-woo, which I really like. And that worked for me fantastically, and that showed me that I could totally bring myself into Not A Rehearsal without masking one side of me. So it made a massive difference.
Amazing. And then of course, you know, from that one exercise, and it is a very powerful exercise. I make it sound as if it's like a 5-minute thing. I mean, it's very, very intensive, isn't it? We're on the phone for a good hour or so. It's like really, yeah, you need to lie down afterwards, basically, or a walk or a warm bath or something. It's really, but from that, the nuggets of gold that you got as a business owner, because this isn't about us. And again, that's another thing, is that when a lot of people work with like agencies, consultancies, branding consultancies, marketing people, there's a temptation, I think, for those people to put their imprint on somebody's business. Oh, I think I know what's best for you, Deb. I think I know who your clients are. I think I know what your brand should look like. And what we've done is we've turned that on its head, and we've gone, no, we are facilitators and conduits for this method. And what we're going to do is we are going to tease out of you all of those wonderful things you already know. It's just that they're not in alignment. And so when that clicked, that allows you then to be able to express yourself in all ways, not just the verbal communication, the written communication, but your brand as well, in terms of your website and what it looks like and how it's positioned, and your photography, Deb, everything. I mean, let's talk about that for a moment. Like you know, the upgrade, the up leveling in terms of your positioning in the world, as well as an expert status person who is very authentic.
Well, you know, that whole process, it just enabled me to be me, because, you know, I grew up in the 80s where being successful was all about, you know, your power suits, your shoulder pads, and you got to have perfect hair, perfect makeup and everything else. So always went into the workplace in a uniform. You know, I'd have a suit on because that made me look like I was professional and successful in business. And whilst that's fine, I'm quite happy wearing a suit and power heels and all the rest of it. It wasn't really me. So what we were able to do was strip back what makes me me, discover things I love, and then I was able to brief a photographer. And I've been somebody, I've always hated having my photo taken because they felt so stiff and so staged and just not like me. But you're doing it, and because I'm an actor, I'm very aware that occasionally you have your photo taken in character. So when I was having business photos taken in the past, I was very much in the character of Deb, the businesswoman. Photos for my website now, when I brief the photographer, it was very much, I want them to be outside, I want to be close to nature, I want to be in the places I love. They are business photos, but I'm going to be wearing my jeans and some flip-flops. Thankfully it was the summer, not the winter. And the photos that we had back, for the first time ever, I look natural. I look relaxed.
Yes.
And the energy that's given to my website, because it looks authentic. And I don't like the use of that word, but it does. The website, I looked at it, I thought, that's the first time in all of my years of business, I've had a website and I said, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the comments I've had, in fact, some of those photos now, they're over all of my Facebook, they're over all of my LinkedIn, you name it, social media. That's what I'm using as my profile shots, because I love them so much. I genuinely love the photos. And I can't remember a time when I've ever felt like that about photos. And that's, you know, that's testament to the Alchemy program. It's testament to the photographer who took the brief and ran with it. And it's just as well testament to the website developers and designers who totally got who I am, but also who my clients are.
Yes. Yeah.
And that for me was, you know, let's make this real, because I've had too many years of pretending to be somebody else because that's what society expected. And that's kind of part of this behind the Mars philosophies. You know, let's stop doing what society tells us we should do or expect us to be. Let's start thinking about who we are, who we want to be, who we want to project out into the world. So I can't help other women to do that if I'm not prepared to do it myself. You know, it's not a case of don't do as I do as I say. It is very much a case of I'm sharing this with you because I've done it. You know, I'm not asking you to do anything I wouldn't be prepared to do myself. And that's where I'm coming from, and it's making a massive difference, not just to the way I work, but to the women I help, you know.
Yeah, it's incredible. And yeah, I mean, you've touched upon, you know, web developers there. I mean, you know, in my training, I talk about, you know, this abdication marketing, where you don't know about yourself, your business, your customers. And so you kind of abdicate it out, and other people kind of put their imprint on what your business should look and sound like and everything. And most people, they just go and get some photographs done. And then it just doesn't feel right. There's something off with it. And your customers will absolutely find that as well. And that's why it was so important for us in our program, that we actually trained the web developers that all our clients work with, and they know about the persona marketing method. They actually understand it, and so therefore they don't come forward and impress their ideas on it. They actually work with you to actually create this incredible thing, which is very, very real and true, and it's true all the way through, because then you can really show up real and true in the world, the true you, to express that greatness. And yeah, you know, your program, Deb, is testament to that as well. And I'm delighted. I'm so thrilled that you yourself have got into alignment. You've taken off these masks that have allowed you to step out even more to a greater level, a higher level in terms of service around the world now, in terms of getting your message out there and talking to these beautiful women who need your help. So from your point of view, Deb, I mean, as I said, we're not done yet. You're about 3/4 of the way to the finish line now, in terms of really truly now getting up, you know, the levels of expressing your greatness on a global scale. Yeah? But from your point of view, I mean, what do you see as now the possibilities for you that you didn't see before you came into this program?
Oh my goodness. I think for me, it's actually about the dreams that I've had for 10 years. I can actually see them becoming real. And that's quite scary, but it's also really exciting. And, you know, we've had a number of conversations. I'm really comfortable on a stage, and that's where I need to be. And for me, it's about speaking on a global stage. It's about delivering my program as a workshop from a global stage. And my biggest goal is, I have one part of what I do based around psychological abuse, and it's linked into the first book I wrote. And I want to create that into a stage play. And that's what I'm working on. So that becomes another vehicle for raising awareness, for people to learn from, and almost change the way I work with people, so that it's not done through this medium. It's not done one-to-one. It's actually done from a stage when they're sitting watching a play. So it's almost subliminal training.
Nice.
That's my goal. It's a very grand dream, but I'm quite excited about that. And, you know, since doing this program, I've connected with script writers who can help me construct it, because whilst I've written books, I've never written a play. I've performed in many, many plays for some 30 plus years, but I've never written one. And because I know that the learning from it, and the learning as an audience member, when you watch something that really resonates with you, it takes so much away. I've got to get it right. So I've been working with script writers, and I've done a few little workshops to see if different ideas will work and that. So, you know, watch this space for that one. It is about going back to who I am, what I love, being on a stage, being on a global stage, whether that's delivering my program, whether it's telling my story, whether it's, you know, sharing my book and training or teaching, or just, you know, helping other people to learn from that.
And getting well paid for it as well.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, there's that thing out there, isn't there, Deb, about almost, there are some women that almost play that part of business down. It's like, oh, well, no, it's not about the money. And of course, you know, in some ways they are correct. It's about the contribution to others. It's about being in service rather than salesy kind of. But at the end of the day, there's a massive part of this also about self-worth and net worth. And if you cannot charge accordingly for the outcomes you're providing, then there's a disconnect there in itself. And so from that point of view, about raising the game in terms of contribution and having a really nice life and being actually given that kind of exchange of energy in terms of money that's flowing into you and your life as well, to allow you to take it up even more, you know, to another level. Yeah, so it's absolutely incredible, and I love what you're aiming for. So if there's another Deb out there, a Deb who has been sitting there for 10 years of kind of like, no, I really want to do this, it's something I know that's on my heart and my soul, but oh, you know, maybe this isn't the right time, or can I, oh, there's another reason, another excuse, another story. What would you say to her?
Well, I would say just do it. I mean, you have a choice. You can either spend the next 5-10 years exactly where you are now, or you can make a decision, a defiant decision to change things.
Yeah.
And sign up and go through it, because a year from now, you'll be in a very, very different place to where you were.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. And so on that note, so, you know, Deb, I am just so excited to watch your progression now into this world. You know, big things are coming for you, and you absolutely deserve them. So from your point of view, what's if people want to reach out to you, Deb, if they want to get in touch with you, they want to learn more about what you can do and help them in terms of your service and contribution, what can you give people your website?
Yes, certainly. It's www.notarehearsal.co.uk, and rehearsal is spelled Rehearsal. It's the English spelling, not the American spelling.
There we go.
But you'll find on the website there's free training on there. You can get my books on there. There's bits of my story on there. So, you know, that's a really good way to connect with me, and you can book a call with me as well.
Excellent. So not a rehearsal, spelt the British way, the English way, .co.uk. And then you can talk to Deb Morgan. Deb, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you today. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and, you know, what you've gone through, and the amazing transformation of you bringing everything into alignment now for you to step out into the world in your truest version of you, the true real you. So amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.